I've had a lot of frustrating conversations with neighbors over the years. But there's something different about standing on your own property and realizing someone has already decided part of it belongs to them now. Not because a judge said so, not because a survey changed, just because they wanted it badly enough and assumed you wouldn't push back. That's exactly what happened to me. They didn't ask. They didn't negotiate. They didn't even try to hide what they were doing. They paved over part of my driveway, fenced it in like it had always been theirs, and when I told them to fix it, they looked me in the eye and said if I had a problem with it, I could call a lawyer. I bought my house 9 years ago, back when interest rates were still reasonable and normal working people could buy a place without feeling like they were signing up for lifelong punishment. It's a corner lot house in a blue-collar suburb outside Columbus. Nothing special from the street. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, detached garage, older siding, small front porch, and a gravel driveway that runs along the side of the house before opening up behind the fence line in the back. That driveway was one of the main reasons I bought the place. I run a small landscaping company, not some giant operation with 10 trucks and a warehouse. Just me, a couple of guys during the busy months, a pickup, a trailer, mowers, stone, mulch, and the usual equipment that takes up more room than people think. That side stretch of gravel let me park everything without blocking the road and without turning the place into a mess. I kept it clean, kept it organized, and for years, nobody had an issue with it. Then the couple next door moved in. You know the type right away. Polished, expensive cars, coordinated taste. The kind of people who can't just move into a house. They have to rebrand it. Within weeks, their place looked like it had been selected for a renovation show. Fresh siding, black trimmed windows, white stone accents, perfectly shaped shrubs, everything symmetrical and clean and deliberate. I didn't care. Honestly, I prefer neighbors who stay focused on their own place. But then the husband introduced himself one evening while I was getting the mail, and within 2 minutes I could tell he wasn't just curious about the neighborhood. He was assessing it. He looked at my truck, then at the trailer, then at the side driveway, and asked if I ran my business from the house. I told him yes, landscaping. He smiled in that careful way some people do when they're trying to sound friendly, while making it clear they're already judging you. He said something about how he was sure we could all work together to keep the street looking clean. I remember nodding and giving him the same neutral answer I give anyone who's trying to establish dominance with a handshake. Sure, sounds good. But I walked away from that conversation with a bad feeling. For the next few weeks, I started noticing little comments. Not direct complaints, at least not at first. Just things said a little too loudly when I was nearby. Remarks about truck size. Questions about equipment being visible. Suggestions about what suited a residential street. There was no HOA in our neighborhood, which was one of the reasons I bought there. No committee, no design review, no nonsense. But he clearly hated the fact that nobody had handed him authority over the block. The first open conflict happened over parking. They hosted some dinner one weekend, and when I came home from a job site, one of their guests had parked halfway across the mouth of my driveway. Not fully blocking it, just enough to make the message clear that my space was flexible if they needed it to be. I went over, knocked on the door, and asked them to move it. The wife answered first with a wine glass in her hand. Then he showed up behind her already annoyed, like I was the inconvenience in the situation. I told him one of his guests was blocking my drive. He said it was only for a few hours. I said that didn't change the fact that it was my driveway. Then he glanced toward the side yard and said something that stuck with me. He said my driveway extended pretty far over toward their side anyway. I told him it extended exactly where the property line allowed it to. He tilted his head and asked if I was sure. That was the first real warning. A week later, I came home and found 3 orange traffic cones sitting on my gravel near the side section of the driveway. Not on the grass, not near the line, directly on my gravel. I sat in the truck for a minute just staring at them, because that's the thing about entitled people. They rarely grab everything at once. They start with small moves to see if you'll accept the logic. I got out, picked up the cones, and set them on their lawn. Didn't throw them, didn't make a scene. Just moved them off my property. 10 minutes later, he was knocking on my door, talking about shared access and overflow parking, and how that side section made sense for both properties. I told him it wasn't shared. He said they had someone look at it, and it appeared that stretch might actually fall within their boundary. I told him to show me the survey. He said it was being finalized, which of course meant he didn't have one. After that, the whole thing stopped pretending to be a misunderstanding. The next escalation came while I was away working. I left early one morning like I always did. When I came back in the afternoon, I honestly thought for a second I had pulled up to the wrong house. There was a strip of fresh black asphalt where part of my gravel drive used to be. Smooth, clean, professionally done, and neatly blended into their driveway like it had always belonged there. And running along what used to be open access to my side yard was a brand new decorative metal fence. Matte black, stylish, straight, expensive looking. Also several feet inside what I knew was my property. I shut the truck off and just sat there for a moment, hands on the wheel, trying to convince myself I was reading the scene wrong. Maybe the angle was weird. Maybe the construction line was temporary. Maybe somebody had made a mistake and they'd already be in the middle of fixing it. But no, they hadn't made a mistake. They had made a decision. I went straight to their front door. The wife answered. Same calm face, same polished tone, like she had been expecting me. I told her husband had paved over part of my driveway and fenced off my property. She didn't deny any of it. She just said they had it surveyed and that section was theirs. I asked to see the survey. She said it had been filed. I told her great, then email me a copy. She smiled in a way that made it obvious she wasn't interested in solving anything and said, maybe I should check my own documents. So that night, I did exactly that. I pulled every piece of paper from my closing file. Deed, plot map, county survey, all of it. Then I went outside with a metal detector and found the original iron pins near the boundary. I remembered where they should be, and sure enough, they were right where they had always been. Which meant the asphalt and fence were not the result of some updated legal truth. They were a gamble. He had bet that if he built it cleanly enough and confidently enough, I would either doubt myself or decide it wasn't worth the fight. The next morning, I called him. I told him he had 48 hours to remove the fence and the asphalt from my land. He laughed. Not nervous laughter, not fake politeness. Just that ugly little laugh people use when they think they've cornered you. Then he said the line I still remember word for word. He said if I had a problem, I could call a lawyer. There's something about hearing that from a man standing on property he knows he doesn't own that changes your whole internal temperature. So that's what I did. I called a property attorney downtown. She looked through the documents, checked the survey, and told me I was right. They had built on my land. Then she told me the part that mattered almost as much. Cases like this move slowly. We could file, absolutely. We could seek full restoration, and we should. But it would take time. Weeks at minimum, maybe months. That was the part he hadn't just counted on. He was relying on it. He assumed the delay itself would wear me down. That by the time anything formal happened, I'd be so tired of the tension that I'd settle for less. But while the legal process started grinding forward, he made a mistake. He acted like he had already won. Every morning his SUV sat on that fresh black strip like a trophy. On weekends, when they had guests, he'd wave people onto it with little hand gestures like he was showing off an upgrade. I even overheard him say once, "We expanded, like he had renovated his way into my property through sheer confidence. That was the point where my anger got very practical. Because here's the thing he either didn't understand or didn't respect. The land was still mine. Asphalt on top of it didn't change that. Fence across it didn't change that, which meant I still had the legal right to use it. The first opportunity came naturally. I had a commercial mulch job that week, and a dump truck was scheduled to deliver 15 cubic yards to me early Tuesday morning. When the driver arrived, I walked him over and told him to back up to the new black strip and drop it right there. He asked if I was sure. I told him I was positive. Then the truck bed lifted, and a mountain of dark brown mulch poured down onto that smooth new asphalt, covering it completely. Perfectly centered. Beautiful, really. By 7:30, their front door flew open and he came storming out in a robe, asking what the hell I thought I was doing. I told him the truth. I was storing mulch on my property. He said I dumped it on his driveway. I pointed at the survey stakes I had remarked with orange flags and told him no. I had dumped it,